Good evening, Urhobo. Good evening, everyone. This is Urhobocast right here at urhobo.uk with Onos Chanoms and Nero Uwejeya. Nero, are you there?
I'm here. Good evening, Urhobocast.
Urhobocast. Now, as I said, this is Urhobocast, and we are recording right now episode 6 of Urhobocast. We've actually gone, very, very far. Recently, I promised that we are going to be bringing you one podcast a month. And I'm sure as far as things are going, we are keeping to that promise. So, like I said, this is episode 6 of Urhobocast. And today we are going to be discussing the fallout from recent development in the Urhobo, community in the UK. And of course, I've got Ms. Uwejeya here with me, and people who are going to be discussing with us today are one Mr. Humphrey Okagbare. Mr. Humphrey Okagbare, you are welcome to Urhobocast.
Thank you very much.
Just to let you people back home know that Mr. Humphrey Okagbare is a newcomer in Urhobocast. It's his first one. I'm sure that we're going to be seeing many, many more of him, though. But the other guest that we have with us here, well, he's not a guest, he's a regular feature in Urhobocast. Is no other person than Chief Nero Ughwujabo. Chief, you are welcome once again to Urhobocast.
Thank you very much, Onos, and thank you for this service that you're offering to the Urhobo people. Urhobocast.
Now, first of all, let me thank my guest for taking the time to come in. Chief Ughwujabo, Mr. Humphrey Okagbare, thank you very much for a wonderful opportunity to speak to you, especially Mr. Okagbare. I haven't actually spoken to you in this kind of platform before, so you're welcome once again.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. We are going to be reacting to the recent developments in the Urhobo circle. Now, you may want to ask, or I hear certain people asking right now, what are those recent developments? Now, the most important one is that, as things are, Urhobos in the UK are going to be holding one election. I believe that is significant. That is a big deal to discuss this evening. So, one election. I want a reaction from you first, Mr. Humphrey Okagbare.
So thank you very much. One election is a big, big step. Actually, it's a mad step. But sometimes last month it was becoming a thing of worry that in the first 3 years of disunity among ourselves, we are heading to 2 elections again. And we're all very paranoid that this is going to happen for another 3 years. But thank God, things are now the way we want them to be. So it's a thing of joy. The community has responded to it positively, and we hope it comes to a fruitful end. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Okagbare. Chief Ughwujabo, I'm sure you want to say 1 or 2 things to that.
Yes, indeed. I think we, as Urhobo people in the United Kingdom, have seen what disunity can cause. And we have seen the troubles in the community, the pain in the community, and the waste of resources with 2 different groups spending money on venues, on drinks, on food. money that we could have combined together to do more positive things for the community. And over the past 3 years, I think we all know that many people have been working very strongly to ensure that Urhobo in the United Kingdom comes back together as one. Now that that is on the horizon, that we will actually have one election that will unite the community, I think that is the most positive news coming out of the Urhobo community in the last 3 years, and it's something that we should all celebrate. I have always said when I speak to the people that to create problems is very easy, but to resolve them is difficult.
That's correct.
And when you have two sides in a dispute, all sides must make sacrifices for the greater good. And I'm glad that we are at a stage where it is clear that everybody is making that sacrifice to guarantee one election for the Urhobo people. And that can only be a positive thing that we must celebrate. But I have to add that the challenges are not over. So we still have to work very hard and hold very strong to ensure that that one election does materialize and we have unity in our community.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chief. That was very elaborate. But one thing that Urhobo people would like to know is that how did we actually come to this particular stage? You know, of course, they will understand that there should have been several meetings and several, grand shiftings and, people making sacrifices and people, making compromises. But what actually transpired? What happened within these few weeks? Because I know 2 months ago, one side has already announced an electoral committee. The other side has also announced an electoral committee. And, they were going their separate ways already. And, within weeks, we are hearing what election. How does it come about?
Right. How did it come about? We are all aware that before this time, different groups have actually made several efforts to mediate on the disunity among the Urhobo people. We're talking about a 3-year period of dispute and reconciliation. As we recall 3 years ago, there was a caretaker committee set up by late Chief Advisor to resolve this issue, but it didn't go anywhere. The senior citizens also came into it. There was still no hope. I recall the Deputy Governor of Delta State then, Professor Twama, when he came to the United Kingdom. He also talked about reconciliation. We visited him, the other group visited him. There was still no headway. And the Urhobo King also tried. Then the very biggest one was the effort by Chief Ughwujabo, who was able to put the Urhobo Council of Chiefs together with the Urhobo clan head. And that meeting started in October up till April until the recent declaration whereby a committee was set up to conduct elections, while at the same time the UP Onos Chanoms also setting up a committee to conduct elections. And like I said earlier, it was obvious we're going in the way of election. So at that point, some of us look at it that we cannot continue like this. We need to do something. We need to stop this process of 2 elections. Is there anything that has not been harnessed yet? So we spoke to ourselves that something that has not been harnessed at this point is roundtable discussion.
Yes.
We have not been able to. The people who are trying to mediate have never called the people together and talked to them together. It's always more like a reported thing. So this time around, we agree that we should come together around the table and discuss our differences and how we can resolve ourselves. And that's what we actually did. So we met with the Ganiga group, and from the Ganiga group, like you know, and the secretary there, we presented this at our meeting and we were allowed to go ahead to meet with Agbosomaso's group. And it was a successful one. We had several meetings. They were represented by Chief Ughwujabo, who is here today, and Mr. Onos Chanoms Maj Uwejeya, and myself, Chief Reno and Chief Areki. And this first meeting was very interesting because the first thing that everybody was talking about is we want one election, we want unity, we want unity. There was no argument about it. We're eating and drinking like brothers and sisters that we are. So that first meeting actually set the tone for this where we are today. And so from there, we move on from one election. So the modality, we all agree that we'll come to where we are now. I don't want to go through all the details. But at the end of the day, we are where we are today because we go there with one mind. We wanted unity. We wanted one hope for ourselves, for our children, for the progress of the world. And that's what brought us to where we are, the mindset of unity.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Humphrey Okagbare. Although your line is playing up a little bit, but yes, it's playing up a little bit, but I'm sure you will get that one under control. And you said something like you don't want to go into details. Just wait until Major comes in. I'm sure you will bring some details out.
How did you know? What's the question?
Yes. Chief, over to you.
No, I think I wholly support the narrative presented by Mr. Okagbare. Those things are true. But what I would add is that at that first meeting, the primary question on all our minds was the question of what is in the best interest of Urhobo. Let us do what is in the best interest of Urhobo. And that is what I will continue to urge everybody to put at the forefront of their mind. This is not about personal interest. It's not about group interest. It's about the overall interest of Urhobo people.
Yes.
How can we do this thing? How can we act in order to put that interest first? Which seemingly the other processes that have gone before may have not necessarily addressed that as the primary concern for the Urhobo people. So we did focus our minds, and whenever the usual things came into play, we stopped ourselves and said, no. Please, let's not go back to that conversation. Let us focus on what is in the interest of Urhobo. And I think the outcome, which is the outcome that I believe we have all put forward, even from the Ekumakugbe young people in Urhobo, the outcome is that we want one election for the Urhobo people in the United Kingdom. We don't want factional elections. It should be one election, and that will bring unity. And whatever the outcome of that election is, all people must weigh behind and support the elected people to deliver the ambitions of the Urhobo people in the United Kingdom. So that's the most important thing. And we actually did then move on gradually to lay foundation for what will be the unity that we're now looking forward to. One election, all Urhobo people actively participating, no bylaws barring anybody, but we are all together as one people, and we vote together and choose our leaders together.
Yes.
Thank you. That sounds very good, very positive. I liked the fact that you sat down in the meeting and you started off with what is in the best interest of Urhobo, and clearly something so simple was always missing. And I'm a bit confused or a bit surprised that in the last 3 years, a simple roundtable discussion with just a few people from each side was never done. You know, I think it's a lesson that we need to learn as Urhobo people. You know, we have a way of doing things and everybody wants to talk, but sometimes simple conversation takes us a long way. So I just want to say thank you to the four of you and to everybody else that participated in getting us to this stage. I'm very proud of you and I thank you for your hard work.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You know, one of the things to say, if I can just add, is that sometimes these things are a process. And in the early days of the dispute, it would have been much more difficult to get such a roundtable meeting together because the wounds were fresh, there was a lot of antagonism, and the atmosphere was very tense. So I think it has taken this process, granted it has been quite a long process, but that we have arrived where we are without having to go through the next phase, the next dispensation as a divided community. I think that is very, very positive indeed.
It is indeed, yes. I agree with you. Yeah, so go on, Major.
But I suppose the lesson is that we know that something like this can work, and we should be trying to do that much earlier on. I understand that people felt a bit raw after the time, but there is something we must learn some lessons from this to take ourselves forward.
I agree with you. So this is experience, isn't it?
Yes.
And it's very important that we now know, because I think the community has never been through this sort of challenge, but we now know that some of these problems can be resolved much quicker, much sooner, and in a much more slicker way. So I think you're right. That is a big lesson for us to learn. It's unfortunate that sometimes people take very entrenched views. One of the things we said as Okagbare will testify to is that we should leave all vested interests out of our discussion.
Yes.
That was the things we said at the early stage. All vested interests, let's leave that outside. Let us focus on one priority. And I think you're right that we will use this in order to resolve any disputes in the future. Hopefully we will not have further disputes, but if we do, this will be a great lesson for us to learn in how we resolve our problems.
Yeah.
One thing I want to add too is pride.
Yes.
And when you talk about the wound being fresh at the early stage, it's not just about the wound, it's all about pride.
Pride, yes.
People have their interests put forward. They want to protect their interests above the interests of Urhobo.
Yes.
If you invite people for this kind of meeting, they wouldn't come, not because they don't want to come, but because of pride.
Yeah.
So that's one of the major things that was a problem at the early stage. And there were a lot of lies flying around. People who were supposed to be mediating at a point get engrossed and become participants.
Anyway,
I don't want to go into details.
Yes, please. Before. Yes, let's not actually look back at those things that actually negated this whole thing, because we're moving forward now. Something else that I wanted to say is that kudos to you guys who actually sat down. But what about our leaders who set the tone? People who actually came out, in the community to say, what. This is becoming difficult. Even the youths are getting involved to say, well, this whole situation is no longer tenable, and, we need to call people together. Those people who are able to placate the generality of Urhobo, to say, let us sit down and talk at whatever level. When Humphrey, when you were talking a while ago, you were saying something like, Urhobo senior citizens, and others. But recently, there's this Chief Margaret Tere's incursion into the whole saga, and not only that, not only Chief Margaret Tere, Chief Angus Omasoro, who said to his own group to say, if you are able to have a roundtable discussion, no problem, you have my blessing, you go ahead and talk. And then Chief Emmanuel Ganiga, who said, why not? You guys go and talk. As soon as it's positive, come back to us and we'll see what we can get from there. What do you say about those people?
On the part of Chief Margaret, he's been head Chairman Council of Chiefs. He's done a very good job, because I was in that meeting from August to the very last day. He's done a good job to unite the Urhobo. There was suggestion in those meetings that the two groups should be brought together for a discussion, but it did not materialize. So I think I would say a big thank you for Chief Margaret and all the clan here. Everybody was positive, but it's unfortunate we couldn't get to where we wanted to get to on that. So I was very proud of Chief Agos Master for allowing his group to actually come out and have this negotiation with us. And also Chief Ganiga, like I said earlier, and I was the one that presented it to our ex-committee. And Chief Ganiga, he has always been looking for ways to resolve this matter. He has always been looking for different avenues for this to be resolved. So this comes to him as another opportunity. He never even think about it twice. Just say, Mr. Okagbare, let this man support you, this man support you. Go and meet them. Urhobo should be one. So I actually have to say a big thank you to all of them, the most recent people that handled this matter. So a big thank you to Chief Emmanuel, Chief Masoro, and Chief Ganiga for letting this discussion take place. And also to Chief Nero Ughwujabo for always being around and for me very positive, Chief Reno, Chief Ariki, and Mr. Onos Chanoms Maj Uwejeya. I think they deserve the thank you from me. So I think it's a good one. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Just to add as well, I think, when we sat down, we ate together, we drank together, we joked together as brothers. And the reality is that we are one Urhobo, even before the dispute, during the dispute, and after. And that is the spirit that we must promote and continue in the community, so that we spend our energies not in destruction or trying to outdo one another, but in focusing on advancing this Urhobo community. As you can see, and as we know, a wide variety of people have been trying to intervene in this matter from the very day the problem started. And I think to all of them, we must be thankful, because without what they have done, we would not have arrived at where we were. So it's very important that they are all recognized for the efforts that they've made. Those that were successful or not so successful, they have done a great job just standing up to say, look, we have a challenge, let's do something about it. And I think the very last effort from Chief Maj Uwejeya and the Kingdom Head, I think that has had a great and a very positive impact. And I will actually add, given that we have one of the Kingdom Heads here in the shape of Mr. Okagbare, that grouping of people must continue to meet together and to reflect on concerns and issues in the Urhobo community.
Even positive ones.
Yes, especially positive ones. Especially coming together to reflect on what they can do collectively to push this community forward is very important. Because I think that where they represent the entirety of the Urhobo community in the UK, the clan heads especially, and the Council of Chiefs being a primary traditional institution of Urhobo in the UK. Because when you think about it, the Council of Chiefs, apart from UPU, is the only gathering where all Urhobo kingdoms are represented. You add that to the kingdom heads, that is a formidable force. That is the entire Urhobo community.
Yes.
And they have a voice, they have power in this community, they have the ability to reach out into all their communities. And I would really encourage them to use this opportunity to strengthen themselves and galvanize themselves together like that. It's often sometimes in crisis that you see the strength of the community. And I think that we have seen this strength, and I will express great gratitude to them for what they have done and encourage them to continue it.
I can assure you we are continuing. Very good.
Excellent.
Even after this period, we'll be having regular meetings to discuss how to move Urhobo forward.
Oh, that's
excellent.
That's excellent. That is good. Now we're going to go into something that I think is what the generality of Urhobo people really want to hear from this panel tonight, and that is what next. Now the ground has been set. There has been agreements in principle. Nothing is concrete yet, of course, because whatever that has been agreed were agreed on principle. So What next? What happens now? Because, two electoral committees have been merged, okay, for the purpose of conducting one election for Urhobo. So what happens now?
Let me just comment on that to start with.
Okay.
So as you are all aware, this Sunday, there was a presentation at the meeting of the Ganiga UPU, and they gave their ascension to the in-principle agreement, as you suggest,
Yes.
for the merger, the unity of the electoral committee to conduct the elections moving forward. I think there will be an Urhobo general meeting for a similar presentation, and my view is that that will also and is positive. And I think from that moment on, the electoral committee are in charge of the Urhobo community and the preparation and execution of an election for the Urhobo people. I anticipate that they will then be responsible for calling meetings of the Urhobo people and announcing to the people their proposal for the election, a timetable for the election, timetable or processes for registration or verification, whatever it is. I imagine that in the coming weeks, the committee itself will be meeting. In preparation for all the public consultation that needs to happen. I don't think that we should underestimate the potential for challenges. I think that I keep repeating this point is very important.
Yes.
So what we must do, those people, all the people who hopefully have the interest of Urhobo at heart, is to provide all the necessary support for the electoral committee to play that very crucial role and get us to one election. So the next steps are very, very clear to my mind. There will be a series of, there will be a single meeting where the electoral committee is presented. Following that, the electoral committee is fully in charge of the electoral process, and we look to them to organize the meetings of the Urhobo people, to update, to provide information, and to enable people to register.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Okagbare.
Mr. Chief Ughwujabo has said a lot about that, which is good. The point I just want to add is the fact that there is a time frame for this to happen. We are constrained to finish this process by the 24th of July for the election to take place on the 7th. While that constraint, we got an instruction from the headquarters because they are coming to monitor the election.
Okay.
So the process has to take place now, and by 24th of July, all nominations, registration will end for the election to go ahead on the 7th. Now, this measure we're talking about, the electoral committee members that actually come to be sworn in this last Sunday were actually nominated by the Urhobo community under the auspice of the clan head and council of chiefs. So, like what Chief Ughwujabo said, the council of chiefs will meet and with the clan head, and they might call a meeting of Urhobo again to inform them of the new development. And thereafter, everything is in the hand of the electoral committee. I will promise the electoral committee complete independence. And that's what is going to happen.
Okay.
The constraints have to be done between now and 24th.
Okay.
Can I just ask a question?
Go on.
Sorry, you just mentioned the instructions from the headquarters and the time frame and time constraint. We've made great progress. We've got the one election. It's taken years to get there. Now, for the Urhobo people to hear, well, we've got one election, but you've got to do it right now in 3-4 weeks' time. That doesn't seem like it's enough time. So what can we do
and that
here
is-
in
and
the
that is
UK to say, actually, maybe that may not be the right thing for us to do?
And just to add to what Major Ross just expressed just now, I mean, if you say you're going to give the Electoral Committee, absolute independence to actually carry out their work, why constrain them or circumscribe them to a time frame, or give them directive from day one? Why should there be a directive? It's a bit.
Can I come in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there is a time frame as Okagbare has outlined. But I think the issue is this: we don't really need to overdwell on that issue, purely from the perspective that there is only one thing guiding this process. What is in the interest of the Urhobo community? Yeah, and I believe that the Electoral Committee, when you meet, you will be aware of that timetable as per the letter from Nigeria. And it is for the Electoral Committee to determine the steps they need to take, whether or not they will fit into that time frame. If it is possible to fit into that time frame, when you call the Urhobo community, you let us know.
Yes.
If it is not and you have alternative proposals, when you call the Urhobo community, you let us know. So I think that there are processes. These are more like technical issues. The Electoral Committee should be competent to review the issues and determine a reasonable time frame, or whether or not they can absolutely meet this time frame. If they can meet the time frame, that will be a glorious thing for all Urhobo community, because then we can have a united Urhobo Day sometime the same August. If it is not possible, if it may take longer for that to happen, then that is something we'll also have to keep under advisement and advise Nigeria accordingly. But I wouldn't be making that decision. It's a decision now for the Electoral Committee to make, to determine what a suitable timetable, given the nature of the work that needs to be done, is.
Yes, which means essentially it is good for there to be that timetable, so that at least that guides whatever decision that the Electoral Committee.
Point.
Yeah, that's the starting point, because it will not be great to just leave it open to say, oh, go and do whatever you want to do, come to us and all that. There should be that guideline to say, this is your terms of reference. Give us this thing that we want at this time. But should there be any constraint, there is always a means to shift grounds, because at least so many people have shifted grounds, so many people have given their time, so many people have, compromised with their efforts, with their resources to get us to this point. So, little technical things like this shouldn't actually,
It's not as little as you think, because there are cost implications.
Okay.
You understand? Because people, there are guests coming from Nigeria to do the swearing in.
Okay.
They don't reside here. They are not British citizens like us.
Okay.
They are constrained with visa and other issues.
Okay.
The venue of the celebration has been paid for. You know how this things work. We cannot get the refund. If we say, oh, let's not work within this time frame, what they are saying, we're going to lose almost 3,000 to 4,000 pounds. Now already paid down for most of these things. So that's what I mean by the cost implication. If the Electoral Committee, in their independence, says they don't want that, this is what we want, and there are people in the community so we can finance the changes, well, we will not have any issue with that. So let's consider the implication of costing.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Not forget about that.
That's understandable.
I think that's something they should definitely bear in mind in their deliberation. But we look forward to your first meeting and to your proposals.
Exactly.
Which, yes, we look forward to that, because I think that's going to be the first opportunity for us to debate what will work and what will not work, given all the various constraints that may be there.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Urhobo, I think we should take a short break and come back to this. We will be right back. Please stay tuned. Welcome back, Urhobo. We just decided to take a short break, that's so that we can scratch our throats a bit, take some tea, and all that. I'll come back to you because so far the discussions have been very, very positive, which is a good thing. Just to remind you, we were discussing with Mr. Humphrey Okagbare and Chief Nero Ughwujabo regarding the fallouts of recent development that has been taking place in the Urhobo community in the UK in the last couple of weeks. So we're going to continue. Ms. Majora wanted to ask a question before we went on the break. So over to you, Majora.
So we've had people that have had the discussions and they've been out there and they've brought us to this place. And I suppose I'm asking as an individual, what can I do to move this forward and make sure that we get the one election that we deserve?
And just to add to you, what is not expected of the community right now? You know.
May I come into that? Okay. So I think what you can do as an individual is that in the discussions with other members of family, other people in the community, you have to encourage people, even in a time like this that may be a bit difficult, to focus on the Urhobo interest. So the decision that we have made in principle, we have to shore it up. We have to build the foundation has been laid. We have to build the house and the roof around it to make sure that the foundation is not destroyed by rain or other natural forces. So it's very important that our conversations encourage all our people to keep an eye on the overall goal of Urhobo unity and to put aside any kind of petty concerns that they might have that will fall in the way of this. So it's very important that everybody's mind is focused on unity is what we want. Unity is what this process will achieve.
What is best for Urhobo? What is best for Urhobo?
And we keep an eye on that. The second thing is that the expectation of the community is that we all want as many Urhobo people as possible to participate in the election. But in order to do that, they have to register. So it's very, very important that everybody, once the electoral committee is able to announce their process for registration, that everybody gets on board. And I will particularly appeal to the members of Ekomakube and Urhobo young people in general who have been complaining that they are not involved, they are not engaged, that this is an opportunity to step forward, to register, and to play a role for the first time in the Urhobo community. So for most of them, this registration will be their first engagement. And what better way to do so than to engage in the democratic process of electing your leaders. So this is an opportunity to register and to get involved. And I think that now that we have achieved peace and unity, we should just encourage everybody to drop all hostilities. It is very, very important that we stop all kinds of negative campaigning and negative engagement that will bring bad blood into the community. It is time that we cease all hostilities and engage together once again as brothers and sisters, as one people, and hold our election in peace.
Yeah, Mr. Okagbare, I'm sure you would like to add something here.
Yes. As a clan head, I will start by sensitizing my people to come out, like what our Igbo chief has said, to come out and be part of it. There's no point trying to disenfranchise yourself. The youth, like Ekomakube, not the youth as we know in Nigeria, at least. We are very mature men in the Ekomakube group. Let them come out and be part of it. Let them come and register. Let's forget about the past. I will speak to my fellow clan head also to preach this into the various clans. But at the time, I'm just waiting for the pronouncement from the electoral committee. What they pronounce, what the timetable will look like, I will say that to my community. I tell my fellow clan head, tell their community. Anybody above 20, the age the electoral commission stipulates, Bring the youth in. Go to the university. Get them into it. They go to Urhobo school. Get them from Urhobo school to come and see what is going on. Let them be part of it.
Yeah.
So it's all about reorientation, sensitizing between now and the time of the election. And that's what everybody should do, not just me, not just you. Everybody that you come across, we should tell them, Urhobo is now back together. The past is past. Let's move ahead. So come out, register to vote.
Yeah, but you guys were just mentioning the youth, Okumakwe and all that. What about the women's group? Don't forget we have women group on both sides who were part of this whole animosity. What is the message to them? Now everything is dropped. What do we do?
Every woman in this country, every Urhobo woman belongs to a kingdom.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, the clan head.
Yes.
It's either you belong to Agbon, Abraka, or whichever kingdom you belong to. So the social clubs are not actually kingdoms. They should not be taken. They should not be using social club as a tool for division. So the clan head should go back and talk to their people.
Yeah.
But I think that I support that wholly, by the way, because I think the clan heads, to my mind, they occupy a very special position in the Urhobo community because they are essentially the elected representatives of the Urhobo people. And they should carry a message back to their people that unity has been achieved and we should all play our part in ensuring that Urhobo is one. But I think the point that you make, Onos, is also very, very important, which is that the women in the community are very, very active.
Yes.
And they do organize more so than men. In fact, I can't think of any Urhobo men's organization in the UK, but there are, of course, very, very many women's organizations. The presidents of those organizations, they are very, very powerful influences in the community. Yes. And they should be encouraged to also take that message back to their groups, to say that we must cease all hostilities, we must maintain peace and order building up to this election, and we must make sure that we get the largest number of people participating to make this a truly united Urhobo election. So I think they play an important role and they should be encouraged to use their influence to support the progress that we've achieved.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, we're going to try to wind down this podcast. That's because we've actually taken so much time. So we're going to go into our last words. And when I say last words from us, it's not going to be just Chief Ughwujabo and Mr. Humphrey Okagbare alone. I would like to hear what you have to say, Ms. Majoro. And I'm sure, I believe I will be saying one or two things to at least to Urhobo. So what message should we send out there now to Urhobo? So what are our last words? Mr. Okagbare, if you want to come in first, please.
Well, the message is that unity has not been achieved. Let's make it work. Well, that we've laid the foundation stone. Let's not destroy it at this point. Let everybody support this drive for unity. Now, coming up, register and vote, and forget the past.
Thank you very much. Short and brief. Chief.
Yes, my encouragement is this. In every community, you have disputes. And when you have disputes, there will come a time when you have a resolution and a way forward. The reality of these things is that it may never be to everybody's taste.
Yes.
And also, people may not get everything they want.
Yes.
But we make a sacrifice for the greater good. We make a sacrifice for the interest of Urhobo. And I think that whoever you are, wherever you are, you have to bear in mind what is in the interest of the Urhobo people. And peace, unity, is definitely the paramount interest of the Urhobo people. If we are united, we are stronger. And that's the motto of the Urhobo Progress Union. So the peace that we have achieved, let us underpin that peace by our actions and our behavior. And let us do everything to sustain it, to make sure that we achieve that one election for Urhobo. And I think we will be all the better for it. So I commend the agreements in principle to the Urhobo people.
Okay, thank you very much. Major, your last word, please.
So my takeaway from this today, and it's a really simple thing, but I think it's very powerful, and it's what we need to always keep at the forefront. Everybody needs to think about this, is what is in the best interest of the Urhobo community. And that really resonated with me, and I'm going to hold on to that. And, there have been times when I've given up and I've not wanted to participate, but I'll always hold that in my head now, saying, actually, what is in the best interest of the Urhobo community and how can we move forward? So I'm going to go away from here now, going out there, actually campaigning and saying, no, come on, everybody, you need to vote. You need to participate. You need to get more active. And this is an appeal to the younger generation, like myself. Please participate. Please come. Let us see you. Come and say something. Let everybody know who you are. What is it that you have to bring? Show us who you are. So we can change. We need to be the change. We need to make it happen.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Major, for that. The overriding thing here is the question, what is in the best interest of Urhobo? If you are able to ask yourself that singular question at every point that you reach in whatever that is going on in the Urhobo community or whatever way you want to participate, if you ask that singular question, I'm sure things will be positive. That is my belief, And first, let me thank everybody for today. I want to especially thank Mr. Humphrey Okagbare for joining us today. This is first time on Urhobocast. At least we have broken the ice now. I'm sure we're going to be seeing more of you, Mr. Okagbare.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so thank you for coming on. Chief Ughwujabo, thank you very much. Thank you because you spent your time at this hour of the day to
received that thank you with gratitude and with great pleasure. So thank you very much.
Yeah. So Urhobo is out there already. The tone has been set. The building blocks or the foundations have been made. It is now time for us to build on it. Okay? The advice is simple. Whatever positions you were holding before, we need to shift them for the greater good of Urhobo. What is in the best interest of Urhobo as far as all these things are concerned? We must shift grounds. People have shifted grounds already. People have made compromises. People have actually taken their time, spent their resources in making sure that we come to this stage. The little that we can do now will propel us further. The most important thing that I would like to say to my Urhobo people today is that we must now begin to participate actively in Urhobo matters in this country. Because if you are out there, you are not within, you will not know what is going on. People will be taking decisions that may not be popular to you, but if you are there, you are able to influence decisions. You are able to lobby. You are able to make your voices heard. So when you come into the party, you are able to get out of it. So please, this is a call to everyone, not just the youth, because we know we have a lot of disgruntled people out there because of this whole disunity thing. A lot of people are saying, I just don't want to be part of this whole thing anymore. Please, everything is now over in principle. Now let's come in and participate actively to push Urhobo forward in the UK. Don't forget, other Urhobos in other countries are looking up to us. Even Urhobos back home. If we are able to get this whole thing right, the tendency is that back home is going to follow. So let's give ourselves this challenge, move Urhobo to the position that we want it, so that at least we as a people can come back in the committee of eminent personalities in our country, Nigeria. Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. Thank you, Urhobo. May God bless Urhobo, Urhobo of Ughwujabo. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.